Hello, here's some comments, video comments, somewhat in reply to an article that I found yesterday. I sent this link of this article that I found yesterday in a video chat that I'll show in a minute. So the article is titled, "What Happened to Saturday Night Live Movies?" That means Saturday Night Live. Most people ought to be familiar with it. Its largest competitor was in the late 90s and I think early 2000s with Mad TV. And Mad Magazine's largest competitor is this Crack Magazine brand that turned into this website. And it's not really a website, it's just a brand. And Mad Magazine was the largest humor magazine from the 1950s in its first issue up until its last issue just a few years ago when, if I'm not mistaken, Marvel company, comic books, purchased the brand name, and they own that now, all the stuff. Anyway, so I read this article today, and I'm just going right through it. Wayne's World is a movie that I talk about a lot. Growing up, one of the only movies that I had on VHS was Wayne's World 2. Not Wayne's World 1. That was Wayne's World 2 had Wayne's stock, making fun of Wood's stock. And here's some other. This was one of my favorite movies of all time, Night at the Roxbury. I had that on DVD or VHS. I also had this on VHS or whatever it was. Might have been DVD. So, in the caption right here, this article's from yesterday. In my blog just a few days ago, I pointed out how, and I don't know if this is Saturday Night Live's last movie. I finally stumbled across it a few years ago. I don't even remember how. The principal, the character who's the principal, is the same actor who portrays Leon Phelps from The Ladies' Man. And when I was re-watching my audio blog about it, I realized that what the joke is about this Ladies' Man, it's his 80s man, like 1980s. And even the way that I mentioned Diane Sawyer, and the way that I said it sounds so much like dinosaur. So those are just a couple of jokes. But at the very end of this, I don't know, I read the whole article today, and I've not seen this from a grouper, although I'll check that out if I get a chance, I suppose. A long article here. Anyways, I was sharing this link in a live chat because an article from like 2 days, September 18th, and if it's today, if it's the 22nd, that was just 4 days ago, I was reading this article titled, "How Eddie Murphy Saved Saturday Night Live from Extinction in the 80s. So the 80s man is Eddie Murphy. And, okay, so I have this Mad Magazine book that I've mentioned in my blogs before, Howling Mad. And, oh, let me show it in the mirror, actually. I don't know if it'll be very visible. It says, "Name this ICBM and win it." It's a General Dynamics military company that makes stuff. Anyways, it says it's like a joke. Like, if you can name this missile, this ICBM, Intercontinental Ballistic Missile, you can win it yourself. And I think that's really funny. It says suggestions: Greek, Roman, German, American, such as Icarus, Vulcan, Dancer, or Mary. And that's just to name a few. That's just an example of Mad Magazine. So what this is about, it's about space. There's a whole lot of space references in that book. I'm just looking for one part of this. I had on DVD the Best of Eddie Murphy Saturday Night Live, so I'm familiar with all of these sketches. When is this book from? I don't know. It's from the 1960s, the book that I showed. So what I realized when I read this article was the music album, the Eminem Show, is from this one Eddie Murphy quote where he ended the show. It's called, they're changing it from Saturday Night Live to the Eddie Murphy Show. And so the joke with John David Stutz, in 2016 I made a Facebook profile for John David Stutz. It's my only other profile on Facebook. I never use it. I uploaded some Battlefield videos and stuff like that. So, I don't know. Just because what I've seen on Facebook, a lot of people's photos look very similar to the photos from that. And it's very Tarantino-esque, that sketch. And it's sort of like the largest, like Saturday Night Live is so large that they attack news with comedy in their weekend update. I always forget the name of what it's called. Definitely check out Chevy Chase on Weekend Update in the 70s about Legionnaire's disease with, what's her name? In the first generation of cast members in the 1970s. So here's the part about John David Stutz, and the joke is that in the news, it shows all the famous people in the world paying tribute to their fallen friend, a fictional character. But then, immediately in the part 2, they made just as big of an issue out of the life of the perpetrator of the crime, not just the victim. John David Stutz, this guy, right here. See, and here, I noticed just as I see it, there's this space symbolism right here, like he's a star or something. And if this could be compared to what happened in real life in the 1960s, the third part of the sketch, he's the second. That's the second episode. If there was an episode 3, like Star Wars, episode 3, there would have been, not Anthony Michael Hall, it would have been, what's his name? Let me show, I think there's just, if I walk just a few feet. Here's some pictures of Fort Worth and Dallas in clubs in the early 1960s. That's the Skyliner club. Here was the atmosphere at that point. And I'll show that. That was my grandfather's club. He was a piano player. What else? Let me show my other grandfather. Right here. That's Carl Petrino. Here's George Hubbard Campbell Jr. Here's I don't know why I'm showing these pictures. That's me as a boy. Here's my parents. That's my father, Dale. And they met working for Braniff Airlines. That's working for Braniff Airlines. They still have those uniforms from either the late 1970s or the early 1980s. Anyways, that's a company featured in South Park's. At the very end of South Park, it shows an ad for Braniff flight attendant company, or airline company, whatever. The joke about that company is that in the 50s, both of the founders lost their life in a plane crash. And no one knows that unless like you search it out on Wikipedia. I don't think there'd be any YouTube videos of it. What was I going to say about that? There was something else to say about that. I'll probably remember when I watch it later on. Okay, so this is very, very funny. And if it could have been even funnier if there was a third person like Jack Ruby. There is no mention of someone who would be comparable to Jack Ruby, like the third guy in the 1960s with everything that happened in the events in Dallas in 1963, November 22nd. My grandfather Carl, his birthday was November 22nd, 1925, I think. Well, that still is his birthday. Although he passed away in the 1970 or 71, I can never remember. If I'm not mistaken, 1 year before the movie The Godfather was released. And just a funny thing, in Italian, the word padrino means godfather, so my last name and my grandfather's last name, it literally translates into godfather. I want to check out this podcast. I didn't know that I don't know. I'll try to find it on YouTube. So anyways, I think that's all I was going to show here. If I could go back to... So, I was suggesting that because Mad Magazine has finally been retired, and their last issue was about 5 years ago, Cracked can start trying to take over their fan base and win over their fan base, you know, as Cracked was the former largest competitor to Mad Magazine. And what Cracked is doing is it's setting its sights even on an even larger company, and that's Saturday Night Live. Larger in the sense that they have had a lot more of an impact as far as the movies that I showed there and all the TV shows. It's been on the air for 46 or 47 years, I think. So Dan Aykroyd's movie that he made in the early 90s to compete with Wayne's World is called, it's always hard to remember. I always have to search Dan Aykroyd comedy and then add some extra keyword, not to get results for like Coneheads, and he was even in Tommy Boy. He was the villain, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, Dan Aykroyd has a movie called Nothing But Trouble. And that's so easy to remember because of Nothing But a G thing. That's like a early 90s song, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. And so I have two pet mantises now. One is named Nina. And I was listening to this song yesterday, and it turns out Nina is mentioned right here. Here's Nina mentioned. And Nina is the name of the character in Office Space. Mike Judge with Beavis and Butthead is also another competitor. He has books, movies, the TV show Beavis and Butthead. Nina is a character from Corporate Accounts Payable. This is Nina speaking just a moment from Office Space. A very well-known meme. And that's why I named Mantis Nina, because they're so, like, watching them eat, it's frightening. The other one's named Tina, and that's from Rob Schneider's movie Deuce Bigalow, when he goes on a date with like a very tall woman that's close to 8 feet tall, and or close to 7 feet tall, and her name is Tina. And so that's the female mantis name. I went into Gene Deal's live chat yesterday, and I said, ready to make an entrance, so back it on up, ... And that's a quote from this song. Gene Deal thought that was funny. I've seen a couple episodes of your podcast, Gene, or your live chats and videos on YouTube. I first watched the documentary with a friend of mine of the Englishman, the guy with the English accent who pronounces Tupac's name as Tupac. And he interviews Gene Deal in the documentary. And so I tried to make a joke about that interview. I could add that to my playlist on YouTube. Anyway, so after I said that quote, ready to make an entrance, so back on up, ... And Gene Deal laughed at that. I went back and listened to this song, and then I heard Nina. And I was like, wow, that's what I had just named my mantis. That's very strange. Okay, so I'm going to exit out of here and get back into space. On my playlist yesterday, in my home feed, Vice News, just today, they said how to make a military coup. It's like a how-to video. And I started laughing at that title. That's just absurd. That's the most absurd title of a video. Okay, what up, Hezyeka News? So here's my home feed. It's been such a long point of talking that here's the home feed on my YouTube. Okay, so here is a news channel that I also follow. In the videos, there's a whole lot of news reports from the 70s and 80s that are very interesting. So if I could explain what this channel is, it was just featured on Huffington Post, YouTube. I can't remember exactly which one. I'll have to show it here. Wow, I can't remember who runs the channel, what his first name is. I found it on Facebook. And he goes through historical archives and, you know, every day is Black History on this YouTube channel here. And I've had a few comments in the community here. One was mentioning Joan Crawford. I'm not familiar with either of those, but here's Joan Crawford. And what's interesting enough, so here's also cracked.com. If you look closely, that's from cracked.com. This is also from cracked.com right here. And so the thing is about Joan Crawford is that she got her start in Hollywood in a movie called Four Walls, and that just happens to be the same platinum-selling song that my grandfather wrote and went platinum with artist Jim Reeves in the late 1950s, around the time that Elvis got his start in music. So she was in a silent film called Four Walls. And the thing about that movie is it was recreated, and that movie became, the one that was recreated became a lost film, but I found it on YouTube. And just after I found it, I was going to make a vlog about it, and it was deleted. So I can't find it any longer. It had a different title than Four Walls, although it was the same story. So I've got 3 thumbs up over here, and so here I'm trying to explain what happened. What's so strange is at the very introduction of the movie, it spells my grandfather's name, like when it's showing the credits, it says like George Hubbard, like director George Hubbard, and then written by Wayne Campbell. In the way that, like, if you're looking at the Hubbard, and then when it shows the next word, it says Campbell. And it's like, I think I see what my grandfather saw when he, and this is the reason that they chose that movie or the song, they wrote the song called Four Walls, because in this movie that I mentioned, I'll have to show what I mean because it sounds absolutely bizarre. So that's about that. And there's something else to mention on this channel here. These are articles from like a long time ago, like 1800s and stuff like that. It's going to take quite a while. Here's from October 1908. That was over 100 years ago. An article that almost looks like it was written today regarding smallpox. Okay, so, and then here's Dark Viper channel. Okay. Yeah, I watched that podcast. Anyways, it's just in my watch history. He's an Australian video gamer, plays more GTA 5 than anyone else. Here's Sammy the Bull's channel right here. Oh, Larry Lawton, yeah, this video had me cracking up when he tells the story about a second grade teacher. Just now I was laughing uncontrollably. And in yesterday's video, he said, I had my headset on and I wasn't listening like 100%, and I heard Larry say, "The time has changed." And I was thinking, the times they are changing. But then when I tuned into what he was saying, he said, the event that I had scheduled for this day has been changed to a different day. And so I wrote that in the comments yesterday. All right, so let me go down to my Watch Later playlist and try to go through this very quickly. Here's Back to Space. So here's Ed Dwight Jr. He just happens to share the same middle name as the first name of Dwight David Eisenhower, and he was poised to be the first black astronaut in space, man of African American heritage. The man who actually did become the first man of African American heritage in space is ATM, Arnold Tomeo Mendez. He's a cosmonaut, and his initials spell astronaut mission, some sort of an astronaut mission. ATM, the first person of African heritage in space. He's Cuban. He's a cosmonaut. Sponsored in the Russians sponsored this and built the technology. Here's Ed Dwight in the 60s. And all the things that Ed Dwight did in the 60s gave us eventually Eddie Murphy. Edward Dwight, distinguished gentleman. Edward Murphy, distinguished gentleman. Part of the name Edward has the word war in it. That's what I mentioned yesterday in my vlog. And also, this whole vlog from today is regarding this Vice News video that showed in my home feed down here. They've nearly mapped 1.7 billion stars. And when I say they, I think I'm talking about NASA or someone. Here's a music video that's very similar to looking at the stargazing apps. Here's something called the Crux constellation, and it's featured on Australia's flag, New Zealand's flag, Brazil's flag. A lot of southern hemispheres, that's what they see. Okay, and the actor, I don't know his name yet. I just saw him in an article. They said there's not good news about the actor who was the quarterback, named G. Grinouille from Louisiana University in the Adam Sandler's movie The Waterboy. It's from Jimmy Kimmel. I just saw that yesterday, and it reminded me of this. And here's two different characters, same actor, in both of these in Little Nicky movie. Okay, so here's a live chat that I'm making this video. What up, Kyle? Kyle's from Nova Scotia, and that's most likely why La Cosa Nostra is where he gets his title, because it sounds so similar to Nova Scotia. And so here I'm one of the only commenters in the live chat. There's a few others. If I'm not mistaken, what his live streams are, he's a former Mad Magazine contributor. We talk about cracked.com, and this live stream is a long one. Talk about politics some. Here, if I'm not mistaken, here's a website where it's a group drawing. So a lot of people go to the site, and different people can do that. The only experience I have is writing on my phone with like that. I've had styluses that I use on my Surface Pro and in Microsoft OneNote. I've had the Samsung Note where it's possible to write with a stylus, has a stylus holder into the phone. Right now I'm on the Galaxy, and I just draw like this now, and I'm left-handed. Anyways, a lot of the links and mentions from today, from Eddie Murphy to Ed Dwight Jr. To Arnaldo Tamayo Mendez, first man of African American heritage in space. They're all mentioned in this. It's a long video. If I could just show how to navigate through videos, first tap the screen, and either tap to the left or right, press and hold the red navigator button, or press anywhere on the video and navigate that way. You can press anywhere on the video to navigate, or just a few seconds, just with a few taps, change a minute. Here's a lot of my comments here. This video is going to be a whole lot longer if I try to explain all of my comments here. So, what up, Kyle? Oh, you know what? I have a timestamp of Kyle of your subscriptions. So here's who I call Spammy the Bull. That's the Russian characters. In one of Kyle's videos, I sent him Russian text, translated, and hope that he could pronounce it, and it's very funny. I think that's a video on my channel. So I call spammers who just say nothing but gibberish and links So I could even press a button now that says translate to English. I don't know. That doesn't look like any kind of sense. So I call him Spammy the Bull. And so here's a timestamp, this blue part. So I'm going to click this, and it's going to take me right to the part in the video where Kyle shows what he's subscribed to. I watch videos at this where it looks like this, so I couldn't even see. That's one of my videos. Kyle, you can unsubscribe to me if you want. I do appreciate that you're watching my videos. However, actually, no. Well, you did watch that one and you commented, so thank you. That's about Mantis named Nina. Here's another one of my videos. He hasn't watched it because there's no red line. So, anyways, if you like Kyle's videos, also check out Patrick. It's really only a Mad Magazine discussion on Patrick's channel. And Patrick's channel is Flipping Through Mad. So what up, Kyle? Hopefully I'll check into your other streams. Yeah, that really did happen. I could add that to my watch later. I don't want to. That was where Joe Petito. We don't know if he's Italian American. Petito sounds like a last name. I found out yesterday Laundry is a French American name. I know you're not interested. This is just a personal note. They both went to the same high school in Long Island. I was in a live chat this morning where someone was from Long Island. I asked if they could show the high school yearbook. We could find the class of like 2018 or something. So that's all. Joe Petito said on Dr. Phil, he said he's a disgruntled parent. And that's so funny that those are the initials of, the same initials of David Petrino, my name, and Dr. Phil. So that's all. Video over.